Greetings, coming back at you here again with another watch related topic. Today I'm going to be discussing why I like Omega more than Rolex. I'm going to make it quick because I don't have too much battery, okay? Omega, first of all, affordability. Second of all, uniqueness of design. Third of all, versatility, okay? Think about it. Where can you find? I'll give you an example on my Omega Speedmaster triple calendar. Where can you find a Rolex? This particular piece is from like the 90s, early 90s, mid 90s, late 90s, something like that. Sapphire crystal, triple calendar function. Where will you be able to find even a vintage Rolex piece with those features for around $2,000? The answer is nowhere. Even vintage Rolexes for a basic Oyster date, let's say, or just a basic Oyster perpetual, you're looking at $2,000. Okay, $2,000 easy. Even the super vintage Rolex pieces from like the 1940s, even earlier than that, in like really terrible condition, the dial's falling apart, it needs work, you're gonna have to drop like at least $900 easy, okay? And what do you get? The name, okay? You get the name. With Omega, you can get a variety of vintage pieces for around, let's say, $200 to $600. You got Omega Seamasters, you got Omega Geneves, dates, even chronographs, vintage Omega chronographs with acrylic crystals. Omega was my first luxury piece, okay? My first ever luxury watch was an Omega Seamaster caliber 1020, date. I paid like $300 or $400, I don't really remember. But still, luxury pieces, prestigious name, quality movements. What else do you need? James Bond wore them, for fuck's sakes. You can get a nice new Omega Aquaterra date for around $5,000, brand new, okay, brand new. Try to get a Rolex for that money. You might get a Rolex Oyster Perpetual, 36 millimeters, I believe, no date function, nothing like that, for around, I want to say $8,000. So money-wise, it doesn't make sense to me. To me, once you have one Rolex, you have them all. There's nothing unique, there's nothing special, there's nothing that keeps me coming back as a collector. Whereas Omegas, you got the Omega Man on the fucking moon, right? You have all these varieties of different pieces for nice prices. Like I said, price aside, Omega gives the best value entirely to me, okay? You got the new Omegas with the coaxial movements, you know. Rolex to me is boring. You buy a Rolex Submariner, hey, you can get different bezel colors, whatever. You're gonna dish out thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars for what? For the same goddamn watch. To me, Rolex doesn't make anything new. They stick to the same thing that brought them success, the name and the prestige of it, but they don't try anything new. They don't really release any new designs. There's nothing unique, there's nothing spectacular that draws me to them. Omegas, you got the Omega DeVille, brand new for like $1.5,000, $2,000. You got Omega Speedmasters, you got Seamasters, you got divers of all sorts. You got a selection to choose from. Another thing, Omega is not as well known as Rolex. If you wear a Rolex down the street and people notice it, hey, they might either say it's fake or they got your eye on you. You know what I'm saying? Omega, not many people are familiar with it. And those who are usually watch enthusiasts. So, like I said, to me, it's another form of silent luxury, but with a well-known brand. So it doesn't make sense to me to drop 10,000, on Rolexes when I have a wide variety of Omegas to choose from. So that's it, people. If you're into the watch game, if you're into the watch hobby, you like vintage pieces, Omega has the thing for you. You're into new pieces, Omega has a thing for you. You can't go wrong. Would you rather pay $900 for a super vintage Rolex piece with a plastic crystal? Or would you rather get an Omega Constellation for, like, let's say $700 day? Yeah, plastic crystal too, but it's not as old as that super vintage Rolex you could find for that type of money. So, above all, it's value. And you get what you pay for with Omega. Whereas with Rolex, you pay for the name. That's it. To me, that's all it is. So like I said, you have one Rolex, you have them all. That's how it is to me. I have a vintage Rolex, Oyster date. And I really don't feel like getting a Datejust. I really don't feel like getting a Daytona. I really don't feel like getting any other pieces from Rolex, because to me it's like, oh, I already have a Rolex. I don't really feel that desire. I will feel disappointed if I buy another Rolex piece and I'm like, oh yeah, it's another Rolex. It's another Rolex in my collection, but it's kind of the same as my other Rolex. But this one, hey, Omega triple calendar, Omega man on the moon, $3,000, something like that, right? Aquaterra, $5,000. The James Bond Omega Seamasters, like $3,000, brand new, box papers, everything. Doesn't make sense. Where are you gonna find a new Rolex for that type of money? Even on the used market, it's hard. So, fuck it. Rolex kind of lost my respect. Like, I have one, and I always have it, but I'm not necessarily a Rolex fanboy. Like I said, Omega was my first luxury piece, and I just have a certain love and admiration for them, and that's how it's gonna be further on. Like, they keep releasing new pieces, new designs, new things all the time. Okay, innovation. Whereas Rolex is the same stagnant shit. Oh, they released a new Skydweller. Guess what? It's the same shit that they had like fucking 50 years ago. Just a different dial color or some different writing on the dial. Like, come on, people. Like, some of these Rolex collectors are like, oh yeah, I got a Omega Submariner, and I got the one with the red writing, and I got the GMT, and I got this and that and that. Like, to me, doesn't make sense. You have one, you have them all. Explorer 2 is kind of, the polar dial is kind of the only Rolex that I might consider. But anyway, I like date functions, calendar functions, all that stuff on watches, so why would I drop $5,000 on a Explorer 2 if I don't have the day and date feature? I just have the date feature, so functionality too. So that's it, guys. Maybe you're different, but I really don't see the hype behind Rolex. If you're into luxury pieces, look into Omega. If you're a new collector, get a vintage Omega piece. You'll feel great. I did, and I still do. I still have Omega vintage pieces in my collection, and I do wear them. Whereas my Rolex, I got it serviced, all this stuff. Where is it at? I put it in my collection and it just sits there. So, I don't know. Like I said, to me, it's like, it's crazy, it's crazy. Anyway, people, that's it. Do you want to pay for the name, or do you want to pay for functionality, innovation, and I'll give you another example. I'll make it quick. I'll give you another example. Omega Speedmaster, the Schumacher racing version, 3 grand, brand new. You got a nice chronograph with a unique design. Okay, nice piece, brand new, box papers, everything. You can't get a Daytona for 3 grand. It's not gonna happen. See what I'm saying? So anyway, respected brand, worn in movies, many movies. James Bond wore it. You can't go wrong. There's a reason why James Bond went from Rolex to Omega. Anyway, peace out.